Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Alpha Insight Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing seasons in your life, but also we're going to be talking about the new year, which I think is super awesome. The new year, super exciting times. For some reason, I get super excited for the new year, and I set all these goals for myself, but I actually follow through with them for the most part, so that's really fun. And I wasn't trying to dog on you right there, but yeah, I see you. You failed your New Year's resolution last year before February. Yeah, I understand. I get it. Okay. Maybe for the last 4 years, your goal was to go to the gym every day, and you went for about 2 days, and then you quit. That's how it goes, though. That's just how it goes. And then you go, Jameson, well, my life is busy. I don't have time for that. And, whatever else excuses. I'm too tired. And honestly, I think you know what I'm going to say if you say that. But, it is what it is. People say what they want to say. They justify it in their heads. And that happens. So seasons in your life. Honestly, this is a really good episode. I was going to get more in depth about the whole medication and diagnoses and psychiatrists and blah, blah, blah. But I decided to go with this one because I wanted to give you guys a bit of a couple of goals to complete before the end of the year. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of time. I wanted to give you a little bit of time to complete those goals. So I wanted to do this episode first and then probably the other episode next week. Welcome to the Alpha Insight Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, I really would appreciate it if you would share this episode or maybe another episode that you really enjoyed with one of your friends, maybe post it on Instagram or, whatever you could do to help me out. Share it to as many people as possible. That would be super awesome. And then I'm planning to get some new hardware pretty soon. So I want to do interviews with my listeners, hopefully pretty soon, maybe a little bit further into the future, but I've got some upgrades I'm going to make to the sound system, and I want to start getting some of my listeners on here and get some other perspectives for you guys to hear. With all that said, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jameson Riling, and this is the Alpha Insight Podcast. All right, so seasons. Sorry, guys. I'm super jittery today, and it's not even all the caffeine. It's more of I just haven't talked into the mic in so long, and I'm just so excited to talk to you today. I guess a little bit of it is because of the caffeine, and I am kind of just, going nuts, but let's see how this goes. All right, so everybody goes through seasons. This is my intro here. So everybody goes through seasons, and something you have to understand about life is it's kind of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But sometimes when you're in a season, it could be 4 steps back, maybe a half a step forward, and then 4 more steps back. Seasons. Sometimes seasons last a very long time, and that's how life moves. It's not literal seasons in the year. It's more of seasons of success or seasons of loss, seasons of sadness or seasons of depression and, whatever. And the reason I'm making this episode today is because recently I was in a season of depression and I was really struggling. It was getting hard for me to stay on top of my podcast stuff, on work stuff, and I couldn't keep my brain focused. I felt all foggy brained, and I wasn't feeling so great. And I noticed that, and I couldn't put in as much effort into the podcast, and I was putting in more effort for less results. It was I was working double time, but my efficiency was cut in half, basically. So it got pretty brutal for a minute. And, I wouldn't say it was a depression episode or a depression season, but it was just, it was a season of sadness, I guess. And so today I wanted to talk to you about seasons of sadness, seasons of loss, life is going to beat you down so hard, and while it sucks, and trust me, I know it sucks sometimes. Life can suck. It's so beautiful, because you have the choice on how you want to respond to it. You have the choice on if you're going to get back up. and this is where you get to see who you are. Are you a warrior? Are you a coward? Are you just going to give up? Or no matter how difficult it may get, are you going to just keep on going? I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to keep on going. I don't see these results. I'm just going to keep on going. You really get to see what kind of a person you are, especially when you're in the seasons of doubt and sadness and whatever. When you're in those seasons, it's like the most, you could do whatever you want when you're in a good season and, be all this talk. But when it comes to the hard times, that's when you really get to see people's true selves, I guess. That's where you really get to see, like, are they actually what they said they were going to be? Are they actually who they say they are, And I want you to be that person that you say you're going to be, Today's episode, I want to give you just a little bit of hope, okay? Because seasons don't last forever, and I want you to know that. So before we get into like all the negative seasons and whatever, I want to talk about the positive ones, the good seasons in your life. Sometimes there's seasons of like, oh, wow, everything's going right in my life right now. Sometimes it's like, you know what, everything's going right in my life right now. I just got a new car. I just got a bonus. Or, I don't know why I just went to material things. My relationship with God is going great. I'm getting everything. I see results in the gym. My friends are happy to see me. Whatever it is, everything's just going great. I feel great. I'm doing great. That season is one of the most important seasons to be in to really shift who you are and who you're going to be. Because a lot of times what happens is when you are doing good, you forget to stay on top of those things that you said you were going to do. Or you forget to, you're like, I don't need that self-discipline. I don't need this or that. I don't need to put in hard work for this or that. It's kind of like a hustler's mentality, I guess. I don't need to spend this time praying because everything's going good. I'm being blessed, whatever. But the more time you spend in your positive seasons, the more time you spend shaping yourself and building your self-discipline and your work ethic, the easier things are going to be for you when you're in a season of negativity, like season of sadness or loneliness or, whatever the season is, right? The good season is the best time for you to set your rules and stick to them because it gets a whole lot harder to implement new. I'm not saying it's impossible whatsoever because I had to do everything when I was in a negative season, but it gets a lot harder to stay focused and, stick with your self-discipline, stick with your morning routine or your gym routine. And it gets really hard to keep on, praying or, whatever it may be. And these things will benefit you, but it gets a lot harder to do those things like get physical exercise and get a good night's sleep and whatever. It gets a lot harder when you have to start in a season of negativity. That's what I'm saying there. When you've made your goals and you're not seeing any results, when you're frozen in place, when all else is failing or going wrong, you have the choice. So now that we discussed the what you're supposed to do in the good seasons of life, I just, when you're in that negative season, when you have, this is where you get to see who you really are, who you really want to be. When you've made your goals and you're not seeing any results, when you're frozen in place, when all else is failing or going wrong, you have the choice. You have the choice to get back up. You have the choice to keep pushing. Even if you don't know where you're going, even when the goal seems unreachable or you don't even know where to start, you just take another step forward. Wow, that sounded really good. It sounded like a straight motivational speech. Anyways, you just have to take another step forward. You get to choose if you're going to quit that substance or behavior. You get to choose if you want to focus on self-discipline or lift heavier in the gym, start that business, whatever it is. I would say about 97% of people will give up. You know, when things get hard, people just tend to start giving in and start making excuses and justifying things in their brain. And I'm saying, like, you need the self-discipline. You need to start. I know it gets hard in these negative seasons. I know it gets hard. You know, one of my favorite ways to explain a season of sadness, sometimes seasons last so long in our minds. Sometimes seasons last so long and, you know, things happen for so long that my favorite way to describe it is, you know, actually, I just watched the movie The Maze Runner, and it's so crazy because the way I explain this is literally the Maze Runner movie. It's crazy. So the way I like to explain it is, like, sometimes what happens is in these seasons we get in them for so long, we forget what it's like to be happy. We forget what it's like to push ourselves. We forget what it's like to, you know, experience something other than negativity. So my favorite way to describe this is like a person who's in a maze, you know, and they've been in this maze for so long because they can't find their way out at first, you know, and the longer they're in the maze, they begin to accept that as reality. They begin to accept being in the maze as reality. And so they give up, you know, they give up trying to get out. They give up trying new things. Maybe they're like, you know what, I tried everything already. I already tried to I don't know what's going to help. I don't know how to fix this. And just like in the Maze Runner movie, these people, they don't know how to get out, so they just build a life around themselves in the middle of the maze. They accept that as reality. While they all do kind of have like a hope of getting out, you know, a lot of times what happens is you've been in the maze for so long, you just completely lose hope. There's no point. There's no point in going outside anymore. There's no point in trying to find joy. There's no point in trying to get out of my head, you know. It's like you've been in darkness for so long and then you forget what the light looks like. You forget what color looks like. I know, you know. But what I want you to do today is I want you to keep going. You know, if you're in a good season in life, if you're doing good in your season right now, I want you to implement your goals. You know, I want you to implement your self-discipline. I want you to get your physical exercise in and your sleep schedule right. And I want you to, you know, do the hard things now. Train your mind to just keep on going now so that when things get harder, it's a lot easier to keep going. It's a lot easier. And it's not easy necessarily, but it's a lot easier. And if you're in a negative season in life right now, maybe you've been in a depression for years now, just keep on going, keep on pushing. I remember for me, I was holding on to my last thread for a very long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to let go. I'm about to let go. I can't hold on any longer. And I didn't see any hope because I'd been in that season for so long. I accepted that as reality, and I was like, you know what, I'm never getting out. But what happens in that Maze Runner movie? You know, there's people on the outside who are looking in, who can see exactly what's going on the inside. And while they don't want to help these people get out of the maze, I do want to help. You know, it's like I've been through a lot of it, and what I really want to do is I just want to help you. I just want to help because I've already been there. And while a lot of what I'm saying sounds like, oh my gosh, he's just another hustle culture gym bro or whatever, you know, whatever you're saying, it's like, I'm telling you what I'm telling you because these are the things that I had to do to get out of my depression season, to get out of my sadness and my loneliness. And I got to experience joy again, you know, so I know what it's like to be in that season for so long, you know, maybe it's time to make a change in your life. Let's start implementing these things. Start making goals for yourself. Start sticking to these goals. You know, maybe you mess up one day. Maybe you miss one day. You know, maybe you relapse or whatever it is. That's okay. That happens. But what's not okay is for you to just give up because you messed up that one time. Give up because you didn't fulfill it that one day. You shouldn't just give up because it's like if you had, what was it? It's like if you had $86,400, $86,400, and somebody stole $10 from you. Would you just throw away the rest of your $86,390? No. Why would you do that? That would make absolutely no sense, right? That would make zero sense whatsoever. If somebody, but if you think about it like this, you have 86,400 seconds every single day. And just because somebody ruins 10 seconds of your day doesn't mean that you have to throw away the rest of it. Or just because something goes wrong for 10 seconds of your day doesn't mean you have to throw away the rest of your day just because of that. I don't know. Anyways, where was I? Okay, so you wouldn't throw away the rest of your day just because 10 minutes of your day was ruined. And also, what I mean by that is you wouldn't just, like what I'm saying is just because you miss one day or you mess up one time doesn't mean you have to give up completely. But also that doesn't mean that it's, you should justify that one time because, ones add up. It's like if you do something just once, if you, I don't know, let's just say if you drink 3 sodas once, I guess, for one day, it's not going to have a whole lot of effect on you. But if you drink 3 sodas for a month, it's going to have an effect on you, on your body. If you drink 3 sodas a day for a year, you're going to have significant, changes to your body, or maybe just one soda. I don't know, whatever it is, ones add up a lot more than you think they do. They add up a massive amount. And it's hard to see when you're, just looking at that 1% or that one time or that, that 1%. But when you see it building up over time, that 1% becomes a lot more, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So, New Year's. I said I was going to talk about New Year's. I mean, I think that was a pretty good section. I think that went pretty well. I think that's all I had to really say about seasons in your life. So, let's talk about New Year's. 80% of people give up on their New Year's resolution by February. It is averaged that 8% of people actually stick with it through the entire year. Holy cow, my friends. The New Year is probably my favorite time of the year because you get to set goals for yourself. And, if you're determined, you will see them through, or maybe you'll get close, or maybe you'll even exceed your goals. I don't know. You have a whole year. You get to set goals for a whole year. And, like I said, those ones add up. And that's what I get so excited about, is because those ones add up. You get to choose who you want to be and, what you want to do. You've got a fresh start. I don't know. That's the way I see it. And while I don't think that it is right for you to be that person who's constantly like, oh, well, you know what? I'll just start next week, or I'll just, just because this went wrong, I'm just going to trash the rest of today or the rest of this week because I'm just going to restart next week or next month. I'll just, maybe I'll quit that. I'll quit smoking when, next week, or I'll quit smoking next month. I'll quit smoking next year for my New Year's resolution. I'll start this, whenever, a week from now, You know what I'm saying. You've all been there before. We've all been there. I'm going to wait till this time because, and then you justify like why you want to hold off on continuing your bad habit or whatever it is, I do not support that behavior whatsoever. So, before the new year, I wanted to give you guys some things to think about, some goals to create for yourselves for the end of this year. By the end of this year, I've made goals for myself. One of my goals this year was to bench 225 pounds, and I actually did it, and I was super stoked. I did it like a month ago. It was crazy. But this year, the ones really added up for me. I got so much farther than I could have ever even imagined. I'm like super stoked, and So this year, by the end of this year, what I want you to do is create goals for next year. And I want you to start thinking about some strategies on how you want to go about it. Well, goals are good, but they should not be your end, your end goal, I guess. Just because you achieve your goal doesn't mean you should just give up on everything else. You should keep on going, right? I don't know. Goals are so good. But, also the importance of goals is you shouldn't be just looking for you shouldn't be looking for the results. You shouldn't be waiting to enjoy the results, but you should be enjoying the process. This next year, enjoy the process of learning something new. Enjoy the process of your self-development journey, of starting your journey, enjoy the process of starting your new business. The process is what makes the results so much better. And that's something I had to learn. That was just a quick little extra thing. But only 8% of people actually stick with their goals by the end of the year. That's crazy. I want all of you to be in that 8%. I want all of you to be in that 8%. And even if you're not, that's okay. Just don't give up. Keep on going. And maybe you're like, this guy talks too much about working hard, and this guy is just so annoying. And you know what? Maybe he probably doesn't even work hard himself. I don't know. I know. It could be annoying sometimes. I know. Anyways, so the new year is like a blank slate. You get to choose who you want to be and what you want to accomplish. And that's my goal for you for the end of this year is I want you to decide who you want to be, where you want to be. I want you to make a list of like your goals for next year and then your 5-year goal. Like what are your goals for the next 5 years? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to live? How much money do you want to have? How much freedom do you want to have? Do you want to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever? Do you want to, just success? Do you want to be smarter in this area of your life? Do you want to understand how the freaking chemistry works? I don't know, whatever it is. You get to choose. And I want you to make, a list of things you want to do by the end of next year, goals you want to achieve, but also who you want to be. What kind of person, like, are you confident? Do you want to be outgoing? Do you want to be have a lot of self-discipline? Do you want to be charismatic? Whatever it is, have that riz, you know what I'm saying, baby girl? I'm sorry. Anyways, you get to choose who you want to be, and then I want you to write down like how you want to get there to each one of those things. How do you want to get there? What's your game plan? I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to feel more confident with myself. I'm going to start doing research on this. I'm going to start looking for courses on that. I'm going to start trying to, do the basics on how to start a business. I'm going to start this or that, whatever it is. I'm going to quit this habit. I'm going to start that habit. I'm going to read this amount of books, which is a super good one. There's just so many possibilities, so many opportunities for you. And that's what I want you to do by the end of this year. And I wanted to give you a little bit of time to do that. So maybe your goal is, I want to be happy. That was my goal for a while. I want to just be happy, and this next year you can dedicate everything into trying to figure out how to be happy. You get to dedicate yourself to doing these certain things to get your mind back on track. And I want to help you on that journey. On average, it takes about over 2 months for a habit to develop in your brain. Over 2 months. So most people give up on their habits or their goals for the year before February, before the habit even develops in their brain. But just keep with it, my friends. This year is going to be great for everybody, and it's only going to be great if you make it great. This could all sound cliche and all, but anyways, I gave you your homework. I'm just talking just to talk. If you enjoyed today's episode, I really appreciate it if you sent it, shared it on social medias, so shared it to your friends, shared it to your family, anybody and everybody you may think would enjoy it or would benefit from this. I want you to make your list. I want you to make your goals. And I want you to send them to me on Instagram if you're comfortable with that. That would be super cool. I would love to see your goals. That would be crazy, crazy awesome. I'd love to help you, some of you, with your goals. Feel free to message me on Instagram at Alpha Insight Podcast or on the Facebook page at Alpha Insight Podcast. But I gave you everything. I gave you your goals. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you learned something. Also, another way to support would be to leave a rating or a review, which would be I'd super appreciate that. But anyways, my friends, have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. I hope to see those lists, those goals from you guys.